This week on The Splash, West Bloomfield Parks holds its third annual Open Pet Adoption Day. Then watch as the community came out to support the Nation of Israel at Temple Shir Shalom. And later, we say farewell to friends both old and new at this year's Police Memorial. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything, from local news to feature stories. Also that we can bring you the latest from the greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash. Hello and welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson, and as always, thank you for joining us. Over the weekend, residents gathered at West Bloomfield Parks to come and adopt stray pets in need of a home. So we sent over The Splash's Sheena Monin to learn just how beneficial it can be for families to adopt themselves.
This is Sheena Monin reporting for The Splash. Whether you grew up watching Lassie or Paw Patrol, there's no doubt that pets hold a special place in our hearts. We are at Open Pet Adoption Day, where several lucky animals are looking for their forever home. Animal lovers gathered at the West Bloomfield Parks headquarters in an effort to match up adoptable pets with prospective new families.
It gives everybody a chance for families to see the different breeds that they may be interested in, see if they have a good fit for their family, for their children, and just gives the dogs an opportunity. So you're not just looking at a picture, you're actually getting to know the dog, seeing their personality, maybe taking them out for a walk just to see how you react with them and see if they're going to be a good fit for your family.
These dogs come from really bad situations. A lot of times they come from abuse or off the streets or even from owners. So it gives all these dogs a chance to find their forever homes. They're homeless and they never asked to be in a shelter or, in this type of environment. So all they want is love.
Many different breeds of canines were present at the event, as well as a collection of cats, two of which will now be part of the William family of West Bloomfield.
Well, we were talking as a family about getting pets for a while, and we decided that we wanted to bring home a pair of kittens. So when we got here today, we knew that's what we were looking for. So as we got here, we saw the dogs outside and just kind of walked right past them and into the room that had the cats.
All of the rescues have a vetting process to make sure the animals are well cared for after adoption.
The main things to us is what is their living situation going to be? We require that they do not declaw them and that they be indoor cats. Then we want to know about, just how they feel about things like litter box problems and things like that. We don't want them to get dumped at the first sign of trouble, so we want people to understand that there's work involved in keeping pets.
And that work is much easier when the responsibility is shared by the entire family.
And we talked about needing to feed them and to play with them. They're excited about that. They're less excited about cleaning the litter box. So I'm sure it'll be learning as we go, but we've talked a little about it and they know that it's part of the deal.
An often overlooked aspect in pet adoptions is the invaluable role played by pet fosters who care for the pets until they find their permanent home.
Our rescue does not exist without fosters. It is the backbone of this rescue, like every other rescue out there. And fostering really comes down to being able to provide a dog a nice, loving, comfortable environment. And we do all the other work. They don't pay for anything. We cover all the costs. We set up the applications. We do everything to try and get them lined up with the perfect home. We just need fosters that will actually just give them the love for a couple of weeks or a month, whatever it might be.
An interesting fact about many of the rescue volunteers is that they themselves have adopted pets in a similar fashion.
I just fell in love with one of the dogs that we had. He came in extremely emaciated. He was skin and bones. He was basically a skeleton. And he just was so sweet and loving. And he just was attached to my hip. And I couldn't imagine him going home with anyone else.
This is Pork Chop. We adopted him through the Mid-Michigan Pug Club and Rescue back in 2012 after we had lost our 14-year-old pug. And we decided after going through a breeder that we wanted a more fulfilling experience to bring a dog into our home. And so we decided to go with the rescue route.
As you can see, Open Pet Adoption Day is a great way to welcome the newest addition to your family. Reporting for The Splash, this is Sheena Monin.
Thank you, Sheena. Glad to see so many people came home with a new family member that day. And to see more from that segment, you can visit our website at civiccentertv.com/petadoption. Well, the streets of West Bloomfield were filled this weekend with Metro Detroiters of all races and religions walking together in support of a Jewish nation. Here are some of the highlights from the evening. We're here today in beautiful West Bloomfield, where Temple Shir Shalom is putting on their annual Walk for Israel event to benefit the Jewish community. At the 12th annual Walk for Israel, a record crowd from within Metro Detroit came out to support the state of Israel. which remains the only democratic country within the Middle East.
We get about 2,000 people that come out for the walk every year. It's been going on for a number of years in our community. We've been hosting it here for just the last few years here at Temple Shir Shalom, and it's just a great way to gather together as a community to have a good time together and say we're proud of Israel.
The walk started at the corner of Orchard and Walnut Lake Road on the grounds of Temple Shir Shalom and featured a number of residents, officials, and celebrities from within the area.
I was at the front. I carried the flag, met some great people. The cool thing about today is that, it's not just about whether you're Jewish or, whatever your religion is. It's about whether you're someone that wants to be involved in your community.
Temple Shir Shalom's support of the walk has been met with much praise from the community, especially due to a recent hacking of their website a few months ago, emitting anti-Semitic hate speech.
Within 24 hours, I had received hundreds of text messages, emails, voicemails, phone calls, people just reaching out and saying, one, how horrible that was and how sorry they were, and two, that they wanted to show their support and make sure that the event gets pulled off without any. We're going to come out and we're going to support it.
And now the walk has reached its highest total of attendance ever, drawing in supporters of peace from all different backgrounds and cultures.
From African American to Chaldean to Jewish and non-Jewish, evangelical Christians. I mean, it's just such a great feeling to see all of these people come out, show their support for the state of Israel, understand the importance of the U.S.-Israel relationship, and want to be a part of this.
In West Bloomfield, reporting for The Splash, I'm Jonathan Jackson. And if you'd like to see more from this year's event, you can go to our website at civiccentertv.com/walkforisrael. Well, coming up, we've got a look inside this year's police memorial put on by the West Bloomfield Police Department. And afterwards, we revisit a rather popular question on Sidewalk Talk.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson. The West Bloomfield Police Memorial is one of our area's most attended events, and this year was no different, as community leaders, local residents, and even other law enforcement came out to support our nation's fallen officers. But the ceremony was made even more bittersweet due to the retirement of one of our own here in West Bloomfield. Here's The Splash's Lawrence Nyland with the story.
Law enforcement deaths this year have risen 23% over the last year. Remind us how dangerous this job is and how precious is life.
Since 2009, the West Bloomfield Township Police Memorial has become a well-honored tradition within the community. The event, which was started in recognition of National Police Week, memorializes all of Michigan's law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty and brings together residents from all walks of life to remember their sacrifice.
It means so much that so many people in this community, whether they be in law enforcement, education, the clergy association, just everybody coming out and supporting law enforcement, especially during this time, which is very somber to remember those who have died in the line of duty. And so it's heartwarming and gratifying.
And the event isn't just for the community's benefit, but the police departments as well.
We enjoy a great community relationship here. It's not something we take for granted. Every day the officers really know that they have to go out and do the right thing so that that public trust is maintained. And we're very fortunate here because we have a great team of not only officers and dispatchers and police service aides and civilian staff. We have a really good thing going here, and I'm really privileged to be the chief of police.
For the past 8 years, Officer Rick Trabalsi has wholeheartedly given of himself into making each memorial possible, But as he prepares to hand off the reins, his legacy within the township will be as long-lasting as those he's helped to commemorate.
So this is bittersweet, leaving here after 26 years, but that's the way it's supposed to be. People come and go and institutions continue, so it's time for somebody else to take over.
He's really done a great job moderating this event. It'll be difficult maybe to do it moving forward without him here, but he's always welcome to come back and take it over again. I think we'll think about that too. So,
reporting in West Bloomfield for The Splash, I'm Lawrence Nyland.
Thanks, Larry. And thanks also to Officer Rick for his many years of service within our community. We'll definitely miss seeing you around here, my friend. And for anyone else interested in seeing the full ceremony online, you can visit our website at civiccentertv.com/2017 Police Memorial. Well, now let's head to another episode of Sidewalk Talk, starring Sheena Monin, who's out on the streets of Greater West Bloomfield with a question we're revisiting in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week.
Hi, I'm Sheena Monin, host of Sidewalk Talk. We've got some great new questions for you. Come along and join us.
Who am I talking about?
Who was your all-time favorite teacher, and why was he or she your favorite?
I think it would have to be Robert Schreier. Was a high school advanced math teacher I had. He just really cared about us. Every Friday he brought in Slurpees for us, and it seemed like he actually went an extra mile and made me actually work harder, even though I didn't really try too much in high school.
My church organ teacher, professor, he was very understanding of the difference in cultures, and he supported me a lot in my college preparations.
I would say my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Matthews. He's not with us anymore, but he was my favorite teacher. He taught me a lot of things, and he was my first teacher when I moved schools, so he was very helpful to me, and being accepted at a new school, he helped me through all that, so it was cool.
It was actually in elementary school, my fourth grade teacher, Miss Tucker. She just knew how to, she was just strict enough where she had everybody, but we weren't scared of her like other teachers that were really mean. She was just such a sweetheart.
I had a teacher, Miss Young, in fifth grade. She's my favorite teacher because for some reason I would always miss Mondays, but somehow I got invited to the ice cream social anyway because I had straight A's the whole term, the whole semester.
Mrs. Conway in 11th grade went to North Farmington High School, and she taught computer, and I learned how to type, and to this day I'm very good at typing because of her.
Who was your all-time favorite teacher, and why was he or she your favorite?
I guess my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Guest, and they named the school after her after she passed away, so she was my first teacher, and I'll never forget her. So,
my all-time favorite teacher was Mrs. Pollock at McDowell Elementary School in Detroit Public Schools, and she was my favorite teacher because when I was 6 years old, I was severely burnt, and she came to the hospital to visit me, and she would always say to my mother, I wish I could take her home in my pocket.
Scott Teeple, my high school band director, he was just an amazing teacher, an inspiration to his students, and he's now the director of bands at University of Wisconsin, so an incredible talent too.
My kindergarten teacher, Miss Lauer, she was just one of the best teachers that I've ever had. We also had a pet turtle in the class. That was my favorite thing.
Thanks, West Bloomfield, for some more great answers to our questions. Join us again next time for more episodes of Sidewalk Talk.
We had so many people sharing great memories of their teachers from last time that it only seemed appropriate we bring it back up again during this national event. However, if you'd like to see some of our other previous segments on the show, you can visit our website at civiccentertv.com/sidewalktalk. And now it's time for the Civic Center Event Update, where we provide you with all the latest that's happening around Greater West Bloomfield. And you can even stay up to date on all the following current events yourself by simply visiting civiccentertv.com/events. So without further ado, let's get started. Due to unforeseen circumstances at Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition's 8th annual fundraiser, there will be a Fundraiser 2, the sequel, held on Wednesday, May 10th at Orchard Mall from 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m., and then from 5 until 7 p.m. after. Come and bid on the various silent auction items and enter to win raffle prizes, as well as participate in a 50-50 drawing. If you don't have time to stay, then there is a buy it now pricing option that finds and purchases the items you want. so you can take them home with you quick and easy. Go to the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition website for more information. Greater West Bloomfield's Michigan Week invites everyone to the 45th Annual Michigan Week Awards Breakfast, where you can come dine, celebrate, and recognize our local volunteers. This year it will be held at the Orchard Mall on Friday, May 19th, starting at 7 a.m., but you can buy your tickets on Friday, May 12th at their website or through West Bloomfield Parks. Civic Center TV will also be there taping the event, so I hope to see you all there. For any parents in need of a break, the popular Kids Night Out event is the perfect opportunity to drop off your children at the Nature Room on Friday, May 12th from 6:30 until 9:30 p.m. The program will feature games, snacks, animals, and science experiments for the little ones. However, pre-registration with the Camp General waiver form is required, and the kids must be ages 5 through 11, and if interested, the cost is only $20 for resident children and $25 for non-resident children. The Chaldean Cultural Center is open to the public and is located at the eastern end of the Shenandoah Country Club. Make your way through Mesopotamia or take a journey to America through their various exhibits. The museum is open 3 days a week on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. But for more information, you can go to their website or call the center ahead of time at 248-681-5050. Food selection can play an important role in controlling variables such as sodium, calcium, iron, and cholesterol, which is why on Tuesday, May 16th at 11 a.m., dietitians from Henry Ford West Bloomfield will help you understand how to control those factors for a healthy lifestyle. The cost of the class is only $10 per person and includes a $5 voucher for Henry's Cafe, but you must register at their website first. Now, this next event offers a driving course for residents age 50 and older. You can learn defensive driving techniques, new traffic laws, and the rules of the road. Also, auto insurance companies in most states will provide a multi-year discount to AARP graduates, but please consult your insurance agent first. The class is on May 23rd and 24th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at Drake Sports Park, and the cost is $15 for AARP members and $20 for everyone else. Lunch will not be provided, unfortunately, but there is a 30-minute break at noon each day. Please call 248-451-1900 for more information. The 16th Annual Mosaic Arts International exhibition is taking place at the Janice Chirac Gallery inside the JCC until June 15th. Each of the works exhibited speaks an ancient language with a contemporary translation, so if you're interested, come on out and see these fine art pieces from the Society of American Mosaic Artists. The Senior Resource Expo brings new information and solutions to seniors, their families, and caregivers. Held at Temple Israel on May 18th from 2 until 4 p.m., the community is invited to attend at no charge. And for more information, you can contact Kate Bowman at 248-661-5700. And just a quick service announcement for all West Bloomfield residents. Lapel's Dry Cleaning will be canvassing Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. until May 30th. Be sure to spread the word to your fellow neighbors just in case they don't already know. Well, the orange cones are officially out on parts of Maple and Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield, so please drive slowly as you go through the construction zones and be sure to expect delays. For all the latest information on this construction, you can go to the West Bloomfield Township website and click on the Road Commission for Oakland County button, or you can watch our splash reports on both of these sites at civiccentertv.com. Would you be interested in leading a tour on Apple Island, or maybe even guiding folks through the Orchard Lake Museum? Well, you can. Just come on down to the museum on May 17th at 7 p.m. and get the scoop for yourself. However, you must RSVP for this event by Tuesday, May 16th, and to do so, please call the Historical Society's president, Gina Gregory, at 248-622-7570. Or come take a walk on the wild side through a guided tour of Apple Island on May 20th and 21st. Starting at the Orchard Lake Museum, you can ride a pontoon boat all the way to the island and then walk around its perimeter for about 2.5 to 3 hours, interacting with volunteer guides. In order to participate, you must be ages 5 or older, and please wear comfortable clothing for hiking. Plus, if you'd like to know more about the event, you can visit the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society's website online. The Charity Cakes Pancake Breakfast is back at West Bloomfield High School on May 20th from 8:30 until 11 a.m. Breakfast includes all-you-can-eat pancakes, sausage, and orange juice or coffee. Tickets are just $12 per person at the door, or buy them early for $10, and it's only $5 for kids 10 and under as well. Also, your contribution towards this event helps to support the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition, West Bloomfield Youth Assistance, and the West Bloomfield Optimist Club. So be sure to bring as many people as possible for this fun and delicious morning. Sign up and take an evening tour of the Materials Recovery Facility in Southfield on May 24th. You can meet up at the West Bloomfield Recreation Activity Center to catch a bus starting at 6 p.m., where the tour takes visitors inside of the processing facility alongside its employees and through equipment. Also, you must be wearing closed-toe shoes and pants due to the surroundings, and only those ages 8 or older are allowed to visit. If interested, tickets are just $8 for residents and $13 for non-residents. It's finally springtime, and that means citywide garage sales in both Kego Harbor and Sylvan Lake. On May 25th, you can merrily trek your way through these two cities for 3 days to hunt or 3 days to sell. Also, for all Sylvan Lake residents, you must fill out a permit at City Hall and pay a fee of $20 to sell your items. For additional information, please go to either city's website and find out more. And that's all for now. However, if you're looking to find even more events going on in your neighborhood, then be sure to follow us at civiccentertv.com/events and look up our events calendar. Or watch us here for more information on everything going on in the greater West Bloomfield area. And as we head into the break, stay tuned because afterwards I'll be talking with West Bloomfield resident and Holocaust survivor, Irene Miller.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm Jonathan Jackson, and my guest on the show this week is author, speaker, and Holocaust survivor Irene Miller, who is also a resident here within the township. Irene, thank you for joining me.
Glad to be here.
Your story is very interesting, Irene. You are a Holocaust survivor, like I said, and growing up, what was your experience like? You know, I know it must have been difficult, but can you take us back through what it was like for you during that time?
First of all, my Holocaust experience is not the usual what people assume that someone survived in a camp in Poland and so on. My survival is very different. This is probably one of the reasons the University of Michigan was very interested for me to write my memoir, yes. I started off with Poland, spent months or weeks on the no man's land, spent years in Siberia where the bears were coming to the door front. Lived on boiled grass and leaves for long stretches in Uzbekistan, and so on. So to say how was my survival journey, it's such a long story, difficult to summarize it in one sentence or two.
No, of course, but the good thing is you're here today, and you're sharing your story, like you said. You have written books on it, and yeah.
And the reason I am sharing my story, not just here, but I hope we have a chance to talk about it. I speak all over, not just Michigan, but in other states too. I use my Holocaust experiences to promote tolerance and acceptance of diversity, because my life story is not just the darkest chapter of human history, but an example of what happened when a nation did not accept diversity, and what can happen unless we learn from it.
You know, what's great about that, like you mentioned diversity, is the fact that you do go everywhere and you speak as often as you can and at as many places as you can.
Yes, I mentioned it beforehand. I just came from the UP.
Yes, yeah.
My significant other, Bob Hauk, does the driving, which allows me to accept speaking engagement remote from my home base because we put in 1,300 miles back and forth to Marquette, to Houghton and Hancock, and I spoke there in a church. It was the Interfaith Holocaust Memorial Program.
Wow.
I spoke in high schools. I spoke at the university, Northern Michigan University. Then there was an interfaith program in Houghton, and it was in a synagogue that had 200 seats.
Wow.
Not just the seats were taking, there was no standing room. People were sitting in the aisles.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
Do you ever get, nervous doing public speaking anymore?
No.
I mean, I guess since you've done it so much.
No, I like to speak to large gatherings because this is an opportunity to expose a lot of people to the message, not just to the story. When I was in Indiana, in one of the schools were 1,600 students and 150 teachers. And the newspaper article, and they sent me electronic copy, said you could have heard a pin drop.
That's how.
And I get some wonderful questions from students.
Yes, of course.
And I always welcome questions.
Now, I have another question for you, speaking
Sure.
of which. How did you end up here in West Bloomfield, in our wonderful community?
Well, my husband worked in GE in Cincinnati. He was laid off. There was a drastic reduction in the manufacturing of airplanes.
Okay. Yeah.
And since he was born in Detroit, somehow when options were presented, he preferred to go back to Detroit.
And of course, that led to you. You got an education here, right, in the Michigan area?
No, not in here.
Oh.
I have 3 college degrees.
Oh.
But they are all from Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
2 of them are from the University of Cincinnati, and one of them is from Xavier University, also in Cincinnati.
So
I have 2 master's degrees.
You're the smartest person in the room, basically.
No,
as well.
no. Degrees don't make you smart. If you don't start off with a bit of wisdom, you don't end up.
Well, you definitely have wisdom. I mean,
well, thank you. Life's wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, let's talk once more about the book. Now, it is called Into No Man's Land, a historical memoir. Now, writing this, you said it was because of the University of Michigan, right? They wanted to...
well, it wasn't just. The University of Michigan, the chairman of the history, that wasn't, not the chair, the person who was involved, the historian, who was involved in the Holocaust, he knew my story, and they were interested in that. But it took a time for me to be ready to do so. Until about a few years ago, I did not talk to anyone. No one knew that I was a Holocaust survivor. People who worked with me just knew that I was born in Europe, but that's about it. It is difficult for me to talk. It's too personal. But when you read my book, the epilogue, you will understand why I wrote the book and why I started talking about the Holocaust, about my Holocaust experiences.
I know that many, people who've experienced that do have trouble talking about it. I've spoken with people who've, been over in World War II and folks at the Holocaust Memorial Center really close by, and I know you're a frequent visitor there, correct?
I speak there at least once a week.
And they love to have you, I'm sure, yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Because, I'm among the young ones, and so many of the survivors are dying because just the age factor.
But it's important, though, to get your story and to hear those.
And I feel for it, so I happen to be fortunate that I'm a woman with a lot of energy. I start my day with 4 miles of vigorous walking. And so as long as I have my voice and my energy, and Bob can drive, I will go any place we're invited. And I have spoken in a quite large range of organizations, high schools, university, many churches.
Yeah.
In the courthouse on Constitution Days, 2 years, in the labor unions and on and on and on. May I mention my website?
Oh, of course, no. Yeah. I was going to actually...
Yes, to find out more where I have spoken and what is my mission, please visit my website, irenemillerspeaker.com. Under the events, it's listed by year where I have spoken. And there are also in the photo gallery, I have some pictures of some of the events. And when you go on my website, there is also my email address there.
All right. Well,
and I'll be glad to come to your school, to your church, to your whatever. And
she's active, folks. She's always getting out. She's going everywhere. So.
Another interesting thing, many of the schools bought a set of books of 30 from me. And then, after the children had the chance to read the book, we Skyped. And they asked me questions. And I have also Skyped with some book discussion groups in the UP, not this year, but about 2 years ago.
All right. Well, thank you again, Irene. I'm so glad you came to share your story with us.
And thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, everyone. Once again, Irene Miller. You can pick up her book, once again, Into No Man's Land, Historical Memoir. It's on Amazon or any other websites where they sell books.
It is on Amazon and also in the Holocaust Center in their museum shops. And 10 books or more can be bought directly from me through my website.
There you go. Listen to her. Don't listen to me. Listen to her. There we go. Once again, Irene Miller, everyone. And, of course, thank you again.
Thank you and have a good day.
All right, everyone. Well, it seems we're finally getting to enjoy the spring season here in West Bloomfield, and park naturalist Lorna Zuri from West Bloomfield Parks and Rec had a fun springtime episode of Minute with Nature for us on pollinators. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to Minute with Nature. I'm your host, Lorna Zuri, the park naturalist for West Bloomfield Parks. And we're here today inside our nature room talking about pollinators. In order to pollinate, it means to transfer pollen from a male to a female part of a plant and produces seeds. The most important part to remember is that it produces a new plant. Those seeds grow new plants. So without pollinators in our world, we wouldn't have more plants. Who are pollinators and who does all of this work? Well, bees and butterflies are the most common when you think of pollinators in the nature world, but moths are also pollinators, bats in different parts of the world are pollinators, and birds can be pollinators too. Over 80% of the world's flowers require a pollinator in order to reproduce. So without all these animals that do this important job, we wouldn't have a lot of our plants. Some of those plants also provide us with food. Kiwis, cashews, almonds, apples, avocados, I could list a million. And they are all made by pollinators. So they're very important to our food source and to our farmers as well. If you want to help out pollinators, you can plant a pollinator garden. A great way to do that is provide a variety of different flowers that have nectar sources in them. You might want to make sure that you don't use herbicides or pesticides. That's a big problem with our honeybee population right now. They do absorb that when they pick up pollen, and it can affect them. Also, it's really important to plant native plants, plants that butterflies and bees and our pollinators here are used to eating from. So plant native and help out the pollinators in our area. And that's your Minute with Nature.
Thanks, Lauren. And if you'd like to see more episodes of Minute with Nature, then please visit our website at civiccentertv.com/MWN. And now it's time for our final segment on The Splash called Person of the Week, where we recognize someone within the community who is either inspiring or providing toward others. And this week's recipient is designer and entrepreneur Elizabeth Haggerty. Elizabeth Haggerty loves knitting, but instead of knitting your average yarn or string, Elizabeth uses plastic bags, most of which you can find near everyday grocery store. This technique is known as plarning, or plastic yarning, and it's not just for decoratory purposes. You see, rather than waste the material, Elizabeth recycles plastic bags by stringing them together, creating a strong and durable fabric in the process. And now she's using these textiles as mats for the homeless, teaching other interested residents on how to do the same through the Song and Spirit Institute for Peace, creating both an eco and person-friendly business in the process. So because of her willingness to help others through her weaving talent, we're awarding Elizabeth Haggerty with our Person of the Week. And if you happen to know someone who's providing a service to their community, then let us know by sending an email to thesplash@civiccentertv.com. We want to congratulate those who are making a difference in our area, and we appreciate all of your suggestions. And that's going to do it for us this week, but as always, you can catch new episodes of The Splash every Monday at 6:30 and throughout the week for replays. Or you can look up previous episodes online at civiccentertv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook under Civic Center TV for more information. For all our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and of course West Bloomfield, I'm Jonathan Jackson, and we want to thank you all for watching.